Coach Ryan presents Mr. Schock Goes to Springfield, Part 1. This is a day in the life of Aaron Schock. Aaron Schock goes to Springfield. Mr. Schock, you know, the two people you were sitting down talking with, the first was Reverend McAfee.
Yes.
Out of Chicago.
Yes.
Now, we know that a lot of times, a lot of people come to representatives and they want different things. And Mr. McAfee, Pastor McAfee, he's from the south side of Chicago, Central United Community Church. Now, those people there do a number of communities things like food baskets and clothing giveaway and the CETA program and court order community service things like substance abuse, rape victims, and marital and family group therapies and stuff like that. So what could a guy that's doing all of these things want from our representative?
Well, he was actually coming to lobby me on LIHEAP, which is an acronym for Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. And LIHEAP is a state-administered program that dispenses money for low-income families to help with home energy costs over the winter. And it was ironic that he came to see me today. I actually ran into him yesterday, and he was lobbying me about LIHEAP and the fact that we needed to approve money for LIHEAP. And I mentioned that last week I had a news conference with Community Action Agency in Peoria, who has the contract from the state to administer LIHEAP. And the news conference was to talk about my idea, which is to take money that the state has in additional sales tax revenue and dedicate it to LIHEAP. Some people may be asking, well, how come the state this year has additional money in sales tax revenue? Usually we're talking about how deficit spending the state is, or how much of a deficit budget we're in. Well, we're all paying a higher price for fuel costs at the pump, right, for gasoline. And we get a percentage of that in sales tax from the state. The state does. So if gas is $2 a gallon, we get 8% of that. If gas is $3 a gallon, we get 8% of that. So because we're all paying more at the fuel pump, the state of Illinois is going to generate more in terms of income, or in terms of sales tax on the fuel. And it's my belief that we ought to take some of that money, which right now is being estimated at $176 million in additional monies the state is going to have. We ought to take some of that $176 million and use some of it to offset the costs for high energy this winter for some of our neediest population. And so he thought, of course, that was a great idea, because his organization, CETA, has the contract from the state to administer LIHEAP, this low-income home energy assistance program, for all of Cook County. So not only Chicago, but all of Cook County. So we're talking serious number of people up in Chicago. So he was willing to partner with me to lobby his representatives up there to sign on in support of the legislation I'm talking about. So I'm hopeful that we're going to get something done.
Well, I'm quite sure you guys are going to get something done. Reverend McAfee in Chicago is known, along with Pastor Meeks, for getting things done. And they hook up with the people who get things done. And I think that's one reason why he hooked up with you, because he knows you can help get things done.
Well, you can do a lot more working together, right?
That's right. That's what it's all about. I also saw you talking with Miss Jones, who's out of Pekin, who's not in your district, but you sat down to talk with her about something that is affecting her district, and something that she talked with her representative about, Mr. Reisinger, about. Tell us a little about that.
Well, she was having a problem with their water quality over in Pekin and Tazewell County. And clearly Tazewell County is not in my state rep district. I represent Peoria County. But I realize my job is to look out for people all across the state.
Right. And
Tazewell County is just across the river. And there's a lot of times when I will ask legislators who are near me to help me do something for my district. And so I'm sure that her legislator, her state representative, and her state senator are going to try and do something for her, and in turn are going to come to me and ask me to sign on in support of some monies to help them clean up their water quality problem there over in Tazewell County. So in order for me to lend my support, I'm going to want to know what the problem is and why she needs the help and what exactly she needs in terms of help. And so it was important for me to take the time to listen to her so that if I had questions about what it is she needs, I could ask her, because she's going to be more educated on it than the representative or senator who's going to actually try and get it done here in Springfield.
Well, she thought that it was fantastic that you took out the time to sit down and talk with her, and I thought that was fantastic too. How many times a day or a week does that happen to where you have to sit down and talk with the common man?
That's the lion's share of what I do, and I think that's Coach Ron, if I can say, the biggest misconception that people have about my job is that I come down to Springfield and I push a button and vote for them. That takes up very little time in my year.
Right.
Most of my time is spent on constituent problems, like the woman who came to talk to me about water quality problems, or the folks who need help with home energy assistance costs, or the gentleman who needs help with his license plate with the Secretary of State's office, or the woman, the single mom who's having problems with DCFS,
or Pearline
Bell, who runs a cab company in my district who's not getting paid by the state, and on and on and on and on. Those constituent problems are what take most of my time, and it's not the time to sit down with the individual and spend a half hour or an hour learning about their problem, and then they walk out the door. That's not the time. The time is when they walk out the door, and then I have to get to work.
Right.
And I have to spend several hours that day and then several days that week following through and executing my plan to solve their problem. And so that it's very, very time intensive to solve these constituent problems. But when you do solve the problem and you see the expression on the face of your constituent, or you get a nice thank you note from your constituent, that's what gives you fulfillment and gives you a reason to get up the next morning and do the same thing all over.
So the lion's share of what you do is problem solving, and I know you have a very, very good problem solver that works with you, Miss Linda Daly.
She is the best. If I can't solve a problem, or in many cases, I don't have the time to solve all the problems.
Right.
And so by having talented staff members like Linda Daly, Dan Pelfrey is another person who works for me, they really have the time to dive in and find out why it is the folks in my district are having their problem. Sometimes, many times, the majority of the times, they're able to solve the problem. But even if they're not, and the problem rests with me, they're able to give me more background information and say, you need to call the head of the department, or you need to call the governor's office and lobby about this, and try and get them to do us a favor in this area. And so I can pick up the phone and do that. But by having good staff working for you, it cuts down on the time that you have to do background research on the problem.
Well, I can tell you do have tremendous staff working with you. Paula and Dan and Linda, and last but not least, Lori, and the other couple young ladies that was at the luncheon that worked with us.
Catherine Coyle, who's my outreach coordinator. She goes to every neighborhood association meeting there is in my district, and a lot of evenings, a lot of weekends. She's fantastic. Deb Spencer Rogers, who does work in my office with outreach programs, and so it's a team effort, and they're generous enough to give me the credit, but a lot of the work gets done by them, because simply I've only got 24 hours in the day, and I do have to eat and sleep during some of those hours.
Well, a lot of people don't think that you do, Aaron. Schock. And I'm going to tell you something. We expect you to do even greater things than Speaker Madigan have done. 20 years as House Speaker is a great feat. But I want to tell you something. We here at Crime and Justice, we expect some great things out of Representative Aaron Schock, and we have really enjoyed this day in the life of Mr. Schock. Mr. Schock goes to Springfield.
Well, thanks, Coach Rob. We'll have you come back again, and we'll be around my district doing some things with you too. So
yeah, we can't wait for that.